In this session, we are going to see one end-to-end scenario working with table UI element. So in real time, we get very often requirements to work with table UI element in WebDynpro ABAP. So we are going to see, just go to SCIT transaction code, create some WebDynpro component, save as local object. Let me activate the WebDynpro component. Now let me tell you the scenario. See, what I'm going to do is I will have one input field which is material type, and beside that material type input field I'm going to place one button which is say search. Okay, so now as soon as user enters some material type and click on search, so I'm going to display all the materials which satisfy the material type criteria in a table. Okay, so to satisfy this requirement, I'm going to I have to design a screen in v underscore table view. Before that, I should have context nodes created. Okay, so go to this, go to change mode. Now create context nodes. Create node. Okay, and cardinality should be 1 to 1 because I'm going to place input field. Okay. So here I'm going to select only material type. Okay, so and now I should have another context node to display the data in table. So since I'm going to assign this context node to table UI element, the cardinality should be 0 to n, and remaining all properties let it as it is. So click on add attributes from structure. I'm going to display Matner, Ernum, LVORM, Matcal, mains, for the time being I'll just select only these. Okay, Matner, Ernum, LURM, only 5 columns. Okay, 5 fields I have selected so that I can say 5 columns. Now it should be fine. Now I go to view, go to context. Now do context mapping. Just do drag and drop. Same again. When you do mapping of the second context node in the local controller, then it will give you pop-up. When you do first context node to the first context node mapping, then it doesn't give any pop-up. Okay, so just go to layout. Now here I'm going to set the root element container layout as matrix layout. Okay, press enter. Okay, I'm going to place one transparent container, and here I'm going to place, okay, now here I'm going to design a search criteria, and before to that I would like to place page header. Okay, so okay, now just make it up. Okay, now this one say matrix layout, and say layout data as matrix head data. Okay, now create container form, context. So here I'm going to place search criteria, so I am selecting this node, so I have only one field, so I'm just selecting it as input field. Click OK. Now you see, okay, here I'm going to create button, insert element, button, search. Okay, button. Now I'm going to specify the text, search materials or find materials. Okay, now here I should create action. Okay, click OK, click save. Okay, this is done. Now I'm going to design a table UI element. Click on create, yeah, or else you can do, you can click on WebDynpro code wizard. The other way, you can select table, you can select context, this one, and say you are going to display it as text view only. So click OK. So you have got table. So here you can say matrix set data again, so that it will be displayed in the new line. Yes, and in between, okay, right now just, okay, activate it, select all and activate it. Now I'm going to now screen design has been done. I'm going to create a WebDynpro application. OK, save, local object, execute the application. Yes, now you'll see the WebDynpro application output. Okay, now as soon as I select some material type here, okay, as soon as I enter some material type here, let's say SIBA, and click on find materials, I should be able to display the material list of materials which satisfy this material type criteria. Okay, now I have to write the business logic to retrieve the data. Okay, now I go to /o sc24. Normally in few projects there will be two different developers, one who deals with the business logic, one who deals with the application logic. Okay, so when you say application logic, people specifically work in WebDynpro, and those who work in business logic, they work with class programming or function modules. So I have seen few projects wherein there are two different developers who actually work on WebDynpro, and the other who will actually deal with the business database. Okay, I have seen different type of projects wherein only one developer will have to work both on WebDynpro website and at the same time uh, classic object oriented web as well. Okay, so let me just going to go to select test fn. Okay, I have already class created, so I'll just go to this class. Okay, now retrieve Mara data. Okay, say instance public get the material data. Okay, or you can say get Mara. You can say rename it. Now here the parameter input should be iv underscore mta rt. Importing, it should not be optional, it should be mandatory. Mara hyphen mta rt. Okay, now because I'm creating importing parameter here, because so I have to fetch the material, all the list of materials which satisfy the material type condition. Okay, now et underscore Mara exporting. Okay, Mara underscore tt, this is material type, okay, which is already created. If I click here, it will take me to Mara material table type. Okay, so this is how you define the internal table. Okay, et underscore Mara is now internal table. Okay, so in web in class in object oriented ABAP, if you want to declare an internal table, you will have to create a table type. Okay, so now done. Now I have to write the data retrieval logic, select query. Okay, now here select star from Mara into table et underscore Mara, where mtrt equal to iv underscore mtrt. Okay, if size of ours equal to 0, and if okay, so here message handling. Okay, we have to write the required logic for message handling, which I'm not going to do now. Okay, we have a separate unit wherein we will have to do the message handling, so that time we will come again here and we will do the message handling. Okay, for the time being I'm just making as it is, leaving as it is. Okay, so now I go back. Now I have a class and I have a method wherein I have written the business logic. Okay, now here, now I should integrate this class with WebDynpro ABAP. So I should go to component controller, go to methods. So to satisfy the MVC architecture, get Mara, get material details. Okay, again here I have to create a signature, iv underscore mtrt, importing mtrt. Okay, et underscore Mara, exporting Mara underscore tt. Okay, right, now here we should call the class. Okay, go to pattern, web objects patterns. Okay, now first we should make sure instance has been created or not. No, now let me create mo underscore class, say public, say reference to. Now specify the class name. Okay, okay, now save it. Go to method list, go to WDA init. Here create object WD this, mo underscore class. Right, now as we discussed in the previous sessions, WDO init is the method which gets executed when WebDynpro application has been launched. Okay, so now that is why I'm creating instance of the class in WDO init method. But here this is how you can do it. Okay, this is one way how you can do it. The other way, what I can do is, within this method itself I can declare reference variable. Okay, lo underscore class type ref2. Okay, here I can say class name create lo underscore class. Okay, okay, sorry, create object. So, okay, like this I can create the instance. But what is the difference between creating an instance of a class within the method and declaring a reference variable here and creating an instance here? The advantage is basically, if you create a reference variable here and create an instance, this instance is limited to this particular method only. This instance lo underscore class instance is limited to this method, this particular method only. But instead, if you create a attribute here in the component controller and create an instance in the WDA init method, the advantage is, as I mentioned, component controller is a global controller. Whatever you create in the component controller, that is accessible in the entire WebDynpro component. Okay, so that is why I have created a reference variable, reference attribute here, and I created an instance. Okay, I created an instance in the WDA init method. So now this instance becomes global across the WebDynpro component. Now you can access this instance of this class and in entire WebDynpro component. It is available in entire WebDynpro component. Okay, so that is why I have created a global attribute. Okay, so I can just comment these, Control S. Now I'm going to utilize a global instance. Okay, go to pattern. Okay, select ABAP objects patterns. Here WD underscore this m underscore class. What is the class name? Okay, let me just check the class name. This is the class name. Select the class name and just select the method. Get Mara. Now click OK. You get the method call. Okay, here also I'm just passing mtart. Okay, now here I get et underscore Mara. It is just similar to function module call in WebDynpro, function module call in normal core ABAP. Okay, now done. Now again I'll go to view. So now model and controller has been done. Now we should initiate it from view. Okay, now I go to WDA init. WDA, no, sorry, not WDA init. So when should I get the data? Only after clicking on find materials button. So I should write the code in find on action of find materials. Okay, I should write the code in on action of find materials. Okay, so here I'm going to call the component controller method. Go here, method call and used controller, press F4, select this component controller and now select the method get Mara. Okay, now just press OK. Now here, yes, okay, till here it is fine. Okay, now what I'm going to do, this is important here, copy, comment it. Now activate the entire WebDynpro component, activate it. Now come here, go to methods, okay, now till here everything is fine. Now but here one thing, once, but I should pass the material type which I have entered in the application. See here user can enter any material type, but when I click on find materials button, I should get the I should get all the materials which satisfies the material type criteria. So how do I mean, when I click on find materials, I have written the required code, everything is fine, but how do I pass what value has been entered by user in the material type? That is now important. Now we are going to write that code. Okay, so as I told you in the earlier sessions, whatever the value entered by user, that gets stored in the context, no, context level. Okay, so now currently user has entered material type CBAU. So where is this value get stored? This value gets stored in the context. So in which context? Let me show you here. Now go to layout. Now if you are working in support project also, when you have to troubleshoot, this is how your approach should be. Okay, so I mean if you want to know user has entered some value in some input field, but you don't know where it is getting stored, then what you have to do is, first of all you should find in which view the screen has been designed, then go to the respective view. I mean, if you know the WebDynpro component first. If you don't know the WebDynpro component, then the first challenge is find the proper WebDynpro component wherein I mean it doesn't, I mean it's not a big challenge. I mean see, I can give you some tips and tricks at the end of training, maybe in the last sessions. Okay, if you are working in support project, how, what are all the techniques you have to use to find the WebDynpro component and view and all those things. Okay, but for the time being, if you know which where in which view screen has been designed, then you just go to that view and then select that input field. You can see the screen design in that view. Okay, now by seeing the screen you choose the required input field, and now you come here, depending on the UI element you can see list of properties. Now you see value binding exists, just click on here, So here mtart, the value entered by user in the material type input field gets stored in the mtart context attribute. So now since value is stored in the mtart context attribute, now we should read the data from mtart. So that is what I am going to do now. Okay, here I am going to read the context attribute value. Just go to WebDynpro code wizard, select the context. I said, right, I explained in one of the sessions what is the purpose of read, what is the purpose of set, what is the purpose of append and as table operation. Now I am going to read the data from context attribute. So I have selected the read radio button. Now select the required context. So mtart, click OK. See, code has been generated. Okay, now maybe in the next session I'll explain you how this code is generated and what is this code. Okay. Okay, here you see get attribute method. Get attribute method is used to read one particular attribute value. So here you pass the exporting attribute name and here you will get the attribute value in lv underscore mtrt. So choose this and then now here you will have to pass it. Okay, here you will have to pass it. Okay, now I will uncomment this. Okay, done. Now et underscore mara. So you okay, exporting parameter, now you know how to pass the value, but now after exporting you will get the data in importing parameter. Now you should catch it. Okay, now here you see instead of declaring a I can declare it here data lt underscore mara type table of mara. Okay, now what I will do here is lt underscore mara. Okay, now done. Save it. Now activate it. Now I'm going to place a breakpoint here. Okay, now place the breakpoint here. Now execute the WebDynpro application. Now here I'm going to enter the material type. I'll select some comp, click on find materials. Now you see it goes to debugging. Yes, it is. Okay, now lv underscore mtrt, what value has been entered by user in the material type input field comp. Now when I execute this, it should return me the value entered by user in the mtrt input field. Press F6. Currently it is space. I am pressing F6. Now you see. So user has entered comp value in the input field. Now you can see here. Okay, I get the same value here. Okay, now I am passing this. Now I am passing this to getMara method. GetMara method is in component controller. So the round trip should happen between should start from view to controller, controller to model, and then vice versa. Okay, now I am passing lv underscore mtart comp. So now press F5. Now it goes to component controller. See here, this is the WebDynpro component controller getMara method. From here, now it will go to class. Okay, so it will go to this class. Now press F5 again. Yes, you see now here, select star from Mara. Now we are in model. You see this class, this method. Okay, now press F6. So size of RC equal to 0. It means there are values in the, there are some records in the Mara table. You see one record has come. One record has come. So press F5. Okay, now we are in WebDynpro component again, round trip. Okay, now this is response. Now just delete it. Now you check et underscore mara. it has one record. Now it will go back to view. So now we are in view, okay, where we started from. Now lt underscore mara has one record. So now one complete round trip has been completed, starting from view, view to controller, controller to model, and then model will get the data from database, and from model again send the response back to controller, and controller will send the response back to view. Now we have the data in lt underscore mara internal table. Now I'm just pressing F8, but we are expecting data should be displayed in a table. Okay, it is not displayed because we have not written any data binding logic here. Okay, we have the data in lt underscore mara internal table, but we have not written a required application logic to display the data in table UI element. So now I'm going to do that. Again, go to WebDynpro code wizard, set as table operation, context, mara output, click OK. Okay, right, code has been generated, lt underscore mara underscore output. Okay, now so but the data is there in lt underscore mara. Now you can just copy this internal table and then you can pass it here in place of this, control V. Okay, now save it. I mean, maybe if you get confused, I can just create it. See, this method is looking, I mean, if you are experienced in object oriented programming, then you should be able to understand this line. But if you are not well versed with object oriented programming, then for you I can write it in a different way. So this is an instance. Okay, now go to pattern. Okay, now if underscore wd underscore context underscore node, okay, bind underscore table. I'll explain you what are all these in the next session. Okay, here you see same method call, but it is appearing in a proper way. But here, since it has been generated by WebDynpro, just to reduce the number of lines, it has been written like this, okay, in a single line. But here you see how many lines? 5 lines. So file, I mean, instead of generating in 5 lines, WebDynpro framework has been generated the same code in one single line. That's all. Okay, here also what you do, okay, here you'll pass the internal table, this, control C. Okay, now this is not required. Set initial elements is equal to ABAP true, or you can, these are optional. Okay, delete. That's all. Okay, I'll activate it. Now I'll keep a breakpoint here. Now I'll refresh it. Now I'll select comp again, click on find materials. Now you see I'm just pressing F6. Okay, F6. Now we have the data in lt underscore mara. Now we are going to do the context data binding to context node, which is binded to table UI element. So now after execution of this statement, data will be displayed in table. See, data has been displayed in table. Okay, so this is how. Now what I'm going to, I'm going to select other material type, let's say container. Now go clicking on find materials. Okay, now go to debugging. Okay, now just remove this breakpoint, click on save and click activate. Okay, How many records are there? 3 records are there now. Now press F8. You see now 3 records are displayed. Okay, so this is how the number of records will be displayed in a table depending on the material type selection. Okay, now I'm going to select different raw material. Okay, a different material type. I'm clicking on find materials. It will go to again debugging. Okay, let's see how many records has come. Again 3 records. Press F8. Okay, now this time different records. Okay, like this you can work with table. Okay, so now here, as I mentioned in the last session, here by default one record has been selected. Now I would like to change the property so that I don't want to select any record by default. Okay, now I'm going to component controller. Yes, Mara output. So now I would say selection. Now initialization lead selection, I'll remove it. Okay, now save it and activate it. Okay, there are some errors. It says. Okay. Okay. Right, activate it. Okay, now if you when data has been displayed here, now you don't get any default selection here. Okay, refresh this. Now choose the material type, say BRW, click on find materials. It will go to debugging. I'll remove the debugging. Click on save. Now you click F8. Now you see there is no default selection here. Now you can select, but you cannot select more than one. You can select only one at a time. Now once again I'm going to component controller. Once again I will change the selection to 0 to n. Okay, now save it. Activate it. Now come here. Now you see select all has come. Select all and deselect all. Earlier it was not there. It has come because I have changed the selection property to 0 to n. Okay, I am selecting BRW. Click on find materials. Now I see 3 records are displayed. Now I can select more than one. I can select more than one. Otherwise I can do like this also. Deselect all, select all. Okay, deselect all and select all. Or I can manually unselect also. One by one. One by one I can unselect by clicking on select control keyboard button and then select them. Okay, like this you can change. Now I'm going to do one more thing here. Now here what I would like to do is I would like to read the selected record. Okay, let's say for example here I have selected this record. Now there are chances wherein you will have to read the selected record to validate whether it is a correct record or not. Okay, it depends on the scenario, but let me tell you how to read the selected record from the table UI element. Okay, now I'm going to place another button, insert element, read record button. Okay, now here one more thing, remove, I'm just removing element. How can you place the table toolbar? How can you place the table toolbar? Now that I'm going to do now. Okay, right click on it. See here, insert toolbar. Just click this. Okay, now you got the toolbar. Now right click on toolbar and insert toolbar element. Okay, button, read record. Okay, button, toolbar button. Okay, now done. Now read selected record. Okay, again I'm going to create an on action. Read selected record. Just click on transfer event parameters. Click OK. Okay, now done. Activate it. Okay, now just go to WebDynpro application and just press refresh. Now you see read selected record button has come on the table toolbar. Okay, now I will enter the material type criteria. Click on find materials. Now you see I can select this record or this record or this record. Okay, now when I click on read selected record, I should read the selected record from here and display it in the individual UI elements. Okay, now that I'm going to do now, I'm going to component controller again. Here I'm going to design a context, create context node, read selected record, Mara, and I should have one cardinality 1 to 1. Okay, Matner, Ernum, LURM, Matcal, means. Okay, same record, the same fields I'm selecting here also. Save, go to view. I'll do the context mapping. Yes. Now go to layout. Now here I'll go to insert element, TCO, selected record, transparent container. I'll select it as matrix layout and layout data as matrix head data. Now here I'm going to place multiple UI elements. Click on create container form, read selected record, and I'm just going to place them as input fields only. Click OK. Okay, all of them has come. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make all of them as read only. Okay, so all of them made as read only. Now activate it. now my expectation is, let me refresh it. Let me enter the material type, click on find materials. Now when I select some record in the table and click on read selected record, now selected record details should be displayed in these read only input fields. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do now. So for this I should write the required application logic in read selected record on action button. Okay, now go to methods. This is the on action that I've created for that button. On action read selected record. Go here. Now here I'm going to write the required application logic. Okay, now go to patterns, ABAP objects patterns. Okay, now just come here, just select the read only, context, Mara output. So everything is fine here. This code has been generated, but here when you say get static attributes, here get static attributes is to read the one single record. I'll show you here. Okay, now keep a breakpoint here. Now just refresh this. I'll enter some BRW, click on find materials. I'll select some record and click on read selected record. Now it will go to debugging. Okay, so now you see ls underscore mara underscore output has nothing because that has not been executed till now. So I'm just pressing F6. Now you see ls underscore mara output has the selected record details. 1964 is the material. See, 1964 is the material number. Okay, now I have not written the required logic which will display the data into these input fields. Okay, now I'm going to write it. Go here. Now here we have the data in ls underscore mara underscore output. Here I'm going to write the required logic. Go to WebDynpro code wizard. Now we are going to set the data into context node. Okay, we have read the data from one context node. We are going to display the read data. We are going to display the data in another context node. Okay, so I'm going to select set. Click OK. Okay, sorry, can't select the context. This one. Click OK. Now what I'm going to do is Control C. See, set static attributes. Okay, move corresponding this to this one. Now activate it. Now if you keep a breakpoint here, now you will come to know. Just go to application and refresh it. Now let's say some BRW and click on find materials, select some record, click on read selected record button. Now it will go to debugging. Now come here, press F8. Now see, ls underscore mara output has the selected record details. Now read selected record doesn't have any data, so I'm just pressing F6. Now it will have the data. Okay, now it has come. Now since set static attributes method is executed, now the data will be binded to context node. Press F8. Now you see what I have selected. 1966, yes. User 44, yes. Client level nothing. triple 003 PC. Now if you select this record, now you see, click on read selected record, go to debugging, press F8. Now you see 1964 user 45003 PC. If you select this record and click on read selected record, now you see 1958. So like this you can write the required logic in table UI element. Okay, these are the possible scenarios wherein you'll get a chance to work with table UI element. Okay, so that's all for today. Tomorrow we will discuss about generated code, and I'll explain you what all the methods we mostly use: get attribute, set attribute, get static attributes, and set static attributes, bind table, and I'll explain you the generated code as well. Okay, thanks, bye.